If you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am The Wiz, and I'm here today to review the 2018 crime drama comedy BlacKklansman, starring John David Washington, Adam Driver, Topher Grace, and Laura Harrier, directed by Spike Lee. I think her last name is Harrier. It might be Harrier. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll move on from there. I guess I can start by my feelings on Spike Lee. Honestly, Spike Lee's films become more of a love/hate kind of thing, and not hate as in, oh, I'm so disgusted, more like I just simply don't like them. For example, I think films like The 25th Hour, Do the Right Thing, Inside Man are great films. Do the Right Thing is an outstanding film, just one of the best I've seen in a long time. But then he does other films like, let's say, Chirac, which people liked, that I did not like very much. There are other films that he's done as well where I just sat there and was like, I don't get it. I was like, I don't understand it. So I guess it's not fair to say I'm mixed on him. When he does good movies, they are great movies usually. But when he does other films, it kind of really doesn't work on me at all. But that's really the sign of a good artist. He's able to convey messages and make you feel and think about things. It just so happens that either I don't like what he's saying or I don't agree with what he's saying, which, fair enough. That is totally fair in those circumstances. He's one of these directors that I think is much more multifaceted than he gets credit for. I mean, he's known for his more dramatic films. I know that for a fact. But if you've seen Inside Man, or if you've seen some of his documentaries like When the Levees Broke, he's a very capable filmmaker on multiple levels. He reminds me of a Spielberg and a Scorsese to a certain extent, and he should be considered one of the best when it comes to that. But to me, it just feels like he gets praise when he does really good movies, but then he gets shit on completely for his bad ones. Almost to an unfair degree, probably because of how outspoken he is. That's my thoughts on him. I think he's a great filmmaker. I always look forward to watching his films, even though I don't necessarily like everything he does. So let's get into the review of BlacKklansman, directed by Spike Lee. Before that, let's get into the plot. The movie is about the first African-American detective to serve under the Colorado Springs Police Department. His name is Ron Stallworth, who's played by John David Washington. When he gets into the intelligence division, he randomly decides to call the Ku Klux Klan of that area and apply for membership, which he surprisingly is able to do, with a couple of problems. One, he uses his real name in order to apply for membership. And two, in order to become a member, it's required that you meet in person. So with that, the police department decides to infiltrate the KKK by using an undercover detective played by Adam Driver to infiltrate the KKK under Ron's name. So why don't we get past the plot, and let me get to my 3 points. My first point is it has smart, funny, comedic elements. I cannot state how funny this film is at times. Some of the best scenes in the film is just simply John David Washington on the phone with either the KKK or with David Duke himself, conversing and saying all these horrible things, sounding like a white guy. They are hilarious scenes, but there are other funny scenes in the film too that keep the movie strangely light for such a serious topic as this, but it is a very funny and very intelligent movie at times. And these scenes really, I think, are the best parts of the film, where you are laughing at the hilariousness and the stupidity of what's going on, even though it is a very serious film. I wouldn't really call it a dark comedy. It's more like a satire of sorts, but I think it's, when the film is striving to be funny, it hits the nail right on the head. It is a very funny movie. My second point, the undercover drama is good, but not as strong. You can't necessarily say it's bad. I would not say that these parts are boring or feel off. They are fine, but the problem is when it's mixed in with the comedy, they're not as potent and they don't work as well. There's certain elements of the film that want you to take it seriously, but because of how comedic the rest of the film has been as time goes on, it's really hard to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. The elements in this film, I think, definitely happened, and that these are dangerous people. I definitely understand that aspect. But the way that the film portrays what's going on and the type of people that Ron and the undercover detective are dealing with, they are treated like idiots. They are treated as laughable, like assholes or of some sorts. Like, they are meant to be laughed at. So when it starts to shift into the point where you have to take things seriously and take seriously the fact that they are dangerous, it's kind of hard to really take it seriously because A, you already feel like that they are not going to allow that something like that to happen, and B, they are constantly one-upping these people and making them look foolish. I think the undercover stuff, the drama, is good, but not as good as the comedic parts. It just is a stark contrast to the comedic parts as well. I don't think it's mixed very well. On top of that, I think Adam Driver is okay in the film, and I think I would have liked a lot more about his character and what he's going through to make those scenes much more potent in that end. But I think that would actually strive away from the main point of the film, so I don't know exactly what you would do to make these elements a lot better. Let me get to my third point, which is the character-like villains make their ruthlessness less believable, although it still is believable. So let me explain this. Throughout most of the film treats these villains, the Ku Klux Klan, as pretty much idiots and just backwards hillbillies that lack a certain kind of sophistication and intelligence, and you're made to laugh at them throughout the entire film, which you do. There are a lot of funny parts in the film, and they juxtapose that with the Black Student Union that is having speakers and having protests and stuff like that going on as well. They do a good job of showing that because the Black student unions are in buildings or in nicely furnished homes, are filled with very intelligent, attractive people, whereas the Ku Klux Klan members are in bars, dives, shitty-looking homes with unattractive, unappealing people, and they do that really well to juxtapose exactly, I guess, how Spike Lee feels about these type of people, as he should, because they're terrible. However, there is a point in the film where you're supposed to take these people seriously, to make them feel like they are dangerous. And while I do believe they are dangerous, it's kind of hard to take them that seriously when they're shown as incompetent and as unintelligent as they have been in the film, unless you just really want to believe the visceral nature of their hatred, which you could, and I can understand how some people would. But I think the biggest example I have is Felix and his wife. Felix is a very dangerous person in this movie, yes, but he is a fucking moron to the highest degree, and he is also an incredibly paranoid moron. On top of that, his wife believes so strongly in him that she in turn looks like a fucking moron. So when you get those two together and they're about to hitch the plan that the film is based on, it's really hard to believe that they are of any danger unless they actually perform and succeed at what they're doing. They don't. Spoiler alert on that one. But the fact is that the film wanted you to believe that they are capable of it, which at no point after that scene starts going on does it ever feel like they are. And I think that is the main problem I have with the undercover drama stuff. As serious as it started to become, I think that element started to fall apart because it clashed with the comedy of the film. I'm not saying change elements of the film to make it more comedic. If this is what happened, actually, okay, that's fine, which I tend to believe this is exactly what happened. But it just doesn't really fit right with the rest of the film as it's laughing at these people and then suddenly you have to take them seriously. Some might not have that problem, and I know a lot that have not had that problem. But I kind of was like, that's kind of weird how I've been told to laugh at these people for about an hour and 45 minutes, and now suddenly I have to take them deadly seriously. So that's me. Okay, so who do I recommend this for? I recommend this for people if you like satirical comedies. Even though this is based on a true story, this is a satire. A lot of things are exaggerated, including things like how dorky and how stupid the Ku Klux Klan looks. So if you are into satires, I would say check it out. I would also recommend this if you want a smart movie that revolves around hate. A problem that I have with a lot of movies that are designed about dispelling hate and being about people who are openly discriminatory is that they kind of seem, I can't believe I'm going to say this, they kind of seem very black and white. There's no real nuance. It's all about, like, this is clearly the bad guy, this is clearly the good guy. BlacKkKlansman in this movie does have that. It feels obvious, but it's done in an obviously comedic way that you don't take it as seriously, even though what's going on is serious in this movie. That is mainly to do with John David Washington's performance and the way that they wrote his part and his scenes. I think that the way that they tackled this subject was both serious, smart, and funny, and I definitely commend the film for that. And who do I not recommend this for? I do not recommend this for somebody if you want a more serious and more dramatic film. These are dealing with a very serious matter about the Ku Klux Klan and how hateful and how destructive they are. The thought of you laughing at something like this, if that bothers you, I'd say avoid it. But I would also say give it a shot anyway. I think you'll still find some humor in it. But if you want this to be a much more dramatic film, I would say probably avoid that. Overall, I do recommend BlacKkKlansman. I think it was a very funny movie. It was entertaining in a lot of aspects to it. I really do feel like the undercover parts really hold it back. They're not bad, but when compared to the comedic parts where I was like laughing out loud throughout the entire time that they were going on, like seriously, the phone call scenes are hilarious in this movie. But I still will recommend it heartily. Is it my favorite Spike Lee film? No, it's not. But it's definitely something I do understand why people like, and I am glad I got to watch it. So overall, I do recommend BlacKkKlansman. Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. All right, so Thursday, me and Zero are going to continue the 007 debriefings by reviewing the sole George Lazenby film, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Saturday, me and Kim are going to be reviewing Love and Basketball, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. And on Tuesday, the theme for next week is going to be President's movies. So President's Day is that week, and I thought, you know what? Why don't we do films that are based around presidents, either real or fictional? And I decided to watch a film that I've been curious about, but haven't gotten around to. It is Secret Honor, starring Philip Baker Hall, directed by Robert Altman. This is a one-person film where Philip Baker Hall plays Richard Nixon. That's it. That's the entire film. I don't know much more about it, but I'm very curious as how this film turns out. Tune in next time. We're on Thursday, me and Zero review On Her Majesty's Secret Service for the 007 debriefings. Saturday, me and Kim review Love and Basketball. And Tuesday, I review Secret Honor. I am The Wiz, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.